Hey quad bros, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the channel. So glad you guys are joining me for another video. This time we're talking about BR2 with the Soviets, doing a deep dive into the faction. Now if you haven't seen the other deep dive videos, I highly recommend you guys check those out. We're going to be trying to do one for every single BR for every single faction, and we're slowly working our way up, hopefully in time with a lot of you guys as you are grinding your way through the trees. Now, if you didn't know already, because you haven't seen the other videos, we are assuming that everyone is a free-to-play player, so we're limiting ourselves to just 3 squads here, along with our vehicle squad, of course. And then we're also going to mostly be talking about stuff in the specific tier that we're in, tier 2. But if there is something that, gets down tiered into BR2, I will mention that. That's not the case in this video. The Soviets are pretty straightforward with everything being standardized in their tiers. But if something like that does pop up, I will make sure to let you guys know. So to start off here, guys, we're definitely going to want an assault squad. We're going to be unlocking an assault squad with the PPS 42. And we're going to want to slot this in over whatever our third squad slot was before. Whether it was like, an anti-tank squad or like an infantry squad or something like that. Basically, we're going to end up running an assault squad and a medic squad, both of which are going to be outfitted with the PPS 43, because this gun is absolutely cracked at BR2. You'll be able to take on anything that the Germans throw at you. This thing will beat out Beretta M1s. It'll beat out MP40s. It's just a really, really strong gun. 700 rate of fire, easy to control recoil, and a 30 round magazine to boot. It is basically, in my opinion, the best submachine gun at BR2. I think the only thing close is the Japanese have the Type 2A, which is also really, really strong, but actually has a lower rate of fire. So really, in my opinion, the crown goes here to the PPS 43. Incredibly, incredibly strong. And we're going to want to take advantage of that, right? Using our assault squad and our medic squad. Assault squads are better than the medic squad if you don't want to run 2 assault style squads with the PPS 43s. You don't necessarily have to. You can always use a standard infantry squad. And the Soviets also have one of the best guns in this BR as well, with the Winchester M1895. This gun is also absolutely insane. 66 rate of fire, incredibly high hit power, and you're just a rootin' tootin' Soviet. It's amazing. It's one of the most fun guns to use. It's got beautiful sights. It's everything that you want and need in a bolt action, while also being damn cool to use. All right, so much fun. Slap some of these guns on your guys, slap some Nagant revolvers, and suddenly you're in the Wild West, absolutely destroying Nazis in some weird alternate history. Amazing gun, and we're gonna outfit our engineer squad with that gun as well. So our main 3 infantry squads here are pretty straightforward, guys. There's not a lot to talk about. We're gonna have our standard infantry assault squad with the PPS 43, a medic squad all outfitted with PPS 43s, and then an engineer squad all with Winchester M1895s. The only thing here that I would say you can swap out, guys, is maybe this medic squad, swapping in a gunner squad if you maybe want to. The Madsen is a pretty poor gun overall, not really worth using in my opinion. I'd much rather have the medic squad, but if you want to try that out, no big deal, and is something that's like totally reasonable. Or if you just wanted to bring like an infantry squad all with Winchesters, that's perfectly reasonable as well. Now, as with the other factions, the half track here, the APC, excuse me, is something that I don't recommend free-to-play players bring. If you're a premium player and you have extra squad slots, I definitely think it's worth bringing. But for free-to-play players, I think you should either be bringing an APC or be bringing an engineer squad. And between the two, I think that the engineer squad is much better. The big caveat here is that you need to remember to build your rally points, right? You need to make sure you always have a rally point up, so you're always contributing to getting your team spawned that much faster. Okay. So APC, if you can bring it, you should bring it. If you don't have the squad slots, then definitely don't worry too much about it. An engineer squad is going to do a lot more damage and be a lot more effective overall. It's also worth noting here, guys, we have the PTRS 41 and the M1 bazooka. The M1 is pretty definitively better than the PTRS 41. Personally speaking, I like bringing the PTRS 41. I think it's more satisfying. I think it's more fun. I like using guns that are kind of a little bit more unique to the faction. So overall, I recommend that you guys maybe try out the PTRS a little bit. It's very fun to just shoot infantry with this thing. I will say that. But if you're looking for just like, Quadro, what is the best thing to bring, definitively, I don't care about theming, I don't care about anything like that, then it's definitely going to be the M1 bazooka. It's got better pin, it's easier to use, it's better at range, it's just a better weapon in basically every single way, shape, or form. Definitely just the superior gun to be using. But I got a special spot in my heart for the PTRS. Okay, on to vehicles. We've got two options for our tanks. We can either bring the big land ship, the T-28E. This is better than the standard T-28. It has some extra armor welded onto the front here that does slow it down, but overall is, you can actually see, I think that's the welded bit right there. This little plate here is welded onto the front. It makes it have more armor. It makes it a little bit more resilient. This gun on the tank, 76mm cannon, is great against infantry. You have 3 different machine guns that will all absolutely incinerate enemy infantry. So overall, just a really good tank. You do have to be careful, very careful, I should say, of any explosive packs or any enemy infantry with anti-tank weapons, because you are a massive target. This thing is just so goddamn big and slow that it's very easy to get taken out. I actually refer to these things very often as XP pinatas, because when you kill them, 6-man crew, getting a bunch of XP for that, and the vehicle kill itself, and they're very easy to destroy. So it's heavily armored, but it's just very slow. Your other option is the T50, which is kind of like a precursor to the T-34. It's got just a 45mm cannon, which is going to struggle against dealing with stuff like the Panzer IVs, the bigger tanks that are from BR3 in the event of an up tier. But otherwise, this thing can deal with most vehicles that are thrown at it. It's pretty heavily armored. It's got nice sloped armor here. It's got a 4-man crew, which is pretty good at this BR. Its cannon can deal with most stuff, and it's also got 2 machine guns as opposed to just a single machine gun, meaning it's got pretty solid anti-infantry capabilities. So overall, both of these tanks are very good. It's just which playstyle you kind of want to have. A little bit more of the heavy tank with the T-28, or a little bit more of the medium/light tank with the T-50, kind of goes to your personal preference. Now moving on to vehicles, depending on what you, I should say, if you don't know what vehicle to bring between a tank or a plane, I would recommend bringing a tank for the Soviets at this BR, specifically the T-28E. I think is the most straightforward of the vehicles to use. Moving on to planes, though, if you want to be flying instead of being in a tank, you have 2 main options. You have the IL-2 1941. This is a pure attack plane. It's got 20mm cannons. It's got RBS-82 rockets, which aren't the best, but they are fine. And then it's got 4 bombs, 50 kgs, small bombs to boot. So it's overall a pretty solid plane. It flies like an absolute brick, and it doesn't have a rear gunner, I believe, or maybe it does. It doesn't look like it has a rear gunner. I thought it did, but maybe I'm wrong about that. So it is pretty vulnerable overall because, again, it flies like an absolute brick. It doesn't have the biggest bombs, but it's the IL-2. It's pretty iconic. It's fun to use. It's got good guns. So it's a decent plane. In my opinion, though, the best plane to be bringing in this BR is the P-40E1. I don't know why I can't click on this. Okay, there it goes. The P-40E1 is a fighter plane. Does very well in the air against enemy planes. It's got good overall stats and performance. And on top of all of that, it does come with a 250 kg bomb and a pair of 100 kg bombs. I'm not actually sure why a fighter plane has a bigger payload than the dedicated attack plane at this BR, but for whatever reason, it does. So if you're looking for an overall plane to be bringing, the P-40E1 is definitely the way to go. It's basically a fighter bomber. Your other option is if you're looking for a dedicated fighter plane, you can choose to bring the Yak-7B. I don't think this is that much better than the P-40E1. It is slightly better. It's got slightly better stats across the board. It does also have cannons on it, which is pretty nice, but it's not that much of an upgrade. If you are looking for just a pure dedicated fighter, the Yak-7 is going to be what you want. But overall, guys, I definitely recommend going with the P-40E1 as your plane of choice for BR2 as the Soviets. And that is everything. That's kind of that's everything to talk about. The Soviets in tier 2 are pretty straightforward. You're really just running PPS-43s, Winchesters, and then some sort of tanker plane, right? And all of the options are good. They have a very strong tier 2. I'm not sure why people don't think that. Your teams might struggle a little bit, but these guns are pretty definitively the best in class, or at least, second best in class across the board. And they will do very, very well for you in game. But let me know what you guys think about the Soviets in BR2. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me over at twitch.tv/HeyQuadro. Keep an eye out for YouTube streams. Join our community Discord. And anything else that I'm forgetting to mention, all of that YouTuber stuff. I do appreciate all of that, guys. Join the community, right? It's a great community. We always are looking for people to hang out with and play games with. So make sure you guys join and hang out. But again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.